big up. Welcome to Liverpool 12 Man Show. Um, I just got done with the Fan Zone broadcast. Was a fun one, and got over here to set up and get this going because we have a bunch to get into today. I have a bunch on the lineup. Big up to Edward. How are you? I have a bunch on the lineup tonight, a bunch to talk about, but I'm sure there's things that you'll want to talk about as well. So, excuse me again. So I am excited to get into this episode because there's just so much going on, so much going on. I'd like to thank everyone that's joining us. Obviously, those that were on the Fan Zone that are tuning in, big up to you. Those that are the OGs of the chat and then likes. It was funny. Let me share this with you guys today. I brought up our conversation yesterday about the about whether Pep Guardiola, if you would have him as a manager at Liverpool, maybe even the manager that takes over for Arne Slot. And it was undoubtedly a hard no by our chat on this. Big up, South Asian Scouser. Good to see you. It was a definitive no by the poll that I put together, and it was night and day difference on their poll on the Fan Zone. It was certainly more. Everyone was saying yes. So it was a very interesting division that I've seen in some of the opinions for whether you would be accepting of Pep Guardiola as a coach for Liverpool. I've always said I'm going to continue to say that they got our Pep Linders, so it's only fair that we get their Pep Guardiola. So that's how I see it. So it is what it is. What is Emery saying right now? 12. If FSG decision making is heavily statistics driven, like we get told, would they have any other choice but to fire Slot? His underlying numbers are surely reflected by the horrible performances. You would think. I agree with you on that. There's certainly there's a lot of reasons why we should move to a different scenario, meaning different position with our coach. Our coach is our coach right now. I support whoever is in the managerial role. I'm supportive of them. But I know I've seen people go as far as to say, "Oh, would you want us to miss out on Champions League if it meant getting this coach sacked, or do you want us to? Would you be down for us losing in this last match for to make it a pretty much more assured result of him being sacked?" And I would say no. I wouldn't go. I don't risk or wish bad fortune on our club, even if it means that we continue on with a coach that I might not agree with in his coaching methods. But I'll ask JK the same question. What are your thoughts on what? I'll bring up the quote from Emery. And welcome too, by the way, JK. Welcome.
Hi there, bro. Hope you're cool. Everyone in the chat as well. Bless up. Okay. The quote on the TV, bro?
Yeah. You were saying like, what are your thoughts? Do you think?
I thought you was on about the Aston Villa manager. I thought, okay, what's he saying before the final today?
No,
the guy in the chat. Okay, bless up, Sam Henry. Marhaba, man. But look, for me, it's like this. Chelsea and Tottenham lost 6-7 games in a row. They came to Anfield, got a point. We lost to Man City and Paris Saint-Germain 8-0 on aggregate. In them 3 games, never scored 1 goal. I can carry on all bloody day, bro. You know, the eyes don't lie. So on top of that, you got the data to back what our eyes are seeing. So all in all, bro, it's just a terrible sort of energy right at the club right now. It's not forward thinking. It's not forward solidarity. There's no. We can get beat by Wolves, bro, and we did. Bottom of the league, we lost to them. So, and we didn't win any away games against any of the top 9 all season. That's another stat there. So we can carry on with this, bro. Like, it's been the worst time as a Liverpool fan, I reckon, for me in a long time, bro. That Jurgen Klopp era was just, you see how powerful it was. We were smiling. Even if we were 3-0 down against a Barca team full of Suarez, Messi and Coutinho, we were like, that's all right, we'll sort that out at Anfield. And we did, 4-0. But this manager is no way in hell happening. Even if you're 1-0 up, it happened last season. We were 1-0 up away at Paris. What happened? We end up losing the game.
Right.
So I can give loads of examples, bro.
Could you? So there was an interesting scenario, and it was the scenario of I think, and it's something before we even get into all the topics and segments, because I do have a fully loaded segment or fully loaded episode for us today. But what was the hot topic that we were discussing earlier on Dean's show was basically with this manager and this current situation with Salah. Do you let's take it step by step. Do you, if you're Arne Slot or if you're an advisor for Arne Slot, do you tell him to sit Mohamed Salah? Would you have Mohamed Salah on the bench? Would you start him on
in a million years?
Start him on at least.
Look, at the end of the day, what happened when they had a little mini beef a while back, about 3 or 4 months ago, and then what happened? He played the game against Brighton before the African Cup of Nations, and he got an assist, and we were like, okay, cool. That's already sort of died down and stuff. Then he came back, and then I think he was injured or something. But he came back into the team, and it was like all forgotten. Then all of a sudden, this beef again. So he should play Salah and Robertson no matter what. So I think the Bournemouth result yesterday, City getting that point, and then Brighton not beating Leeds and losing, actually give us the opportunity. Even Arne Slot could bloody play. You know what I mean? It don't really matter. So for me, Salah and Robertson got to start that game, 100%. Even Curtis Jones, if he's going to leave, he's got to start it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm blessed up to Cosmic in the chat. Hope you're cool, bro.
So you wouldn't be as bold as to. I mean, there's been some people that have been as bold to say that he shouldn't even be on the bench.
Yeah, they're the Jamie Carragher's and Talk Sport type of people, bro. Because at the end of the day, if Arne Slot was top of the league, wrapped up the league already, and we were in the Champions League final, yeah, cool. But at the end of the day, the results and the displays by these teams that under Slot are diabolical. So it's what Salah said was actually what everyone was thinking. Let's just put it like that, you know. I think Arne Slot lives in cuckoo land sometimes. I don't know if he's with the program, if he knows what's going on. Like, come on, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It was Salah's last season, bro. We don't need this beef, you know.
But it would undermine his authority if he was to, allow for it to go unpunished, like those kinds of comments. I mean, we've seen, for instance, I'll give you the scenario. We saw what Chelsea did. I know that Chelsea's a different entity, all the same, but we saw what Chelsea did with the comments from Enzo. he only made comments about, you know, admiring another team or something along those lines, and he got suspended. Do you think that Salah should be suspended for his comments? I think it's a little harsh, to say the least, but do you think he should be suspended? That's the question. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit there, JK. Let's see what you guys think. I think that, and tell me in the chat. Hopefully I'm not. Oh yeah, JK. It's JK. I was going to say my question for JK, and also my question for you in the chat. Hypothetically, Salah does start, right? But do you think that, despite the fact you see Stevie Nicol, you see Jamie Carragher's comments about the disdainment and distaste and the how low class it was for him to do what he did, do you not think, having heard what JK said, which I agree with, I think he said the quiet part out loud, in the sense of saying what we as fans think and what obviously the changing room thinks as well. Do you not think that this is a masterful move by Salah to put Arne Slot in check? He is now saying, I dare you. No, I double dog dare you. Right? I double dare you to not start me in this game. I dare you to put me on the bench and possibly in a game that now has no real meaning other than being a send-off for our legends. He is saying, I double dare you to try to go and treat me like Chiesa, and in the 86th minute walk over and say, warm up, you're going in, so you can get your applause. If you really, really think that, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are, or how you've come to that conclusion. I think it's a masterful decision. Steve Nicol and Jamie Carragher. Oh, excuse me. All of them aside, I think it was a masterful move by Salah, and not only a bold move, but unlike in December, when it came off as being selfish and all about Salah and divisive and the likes of that. I think for him to say it at this turn of the season and even his career, I think it's just as Cedric saying, Salah's holding all the cards and he knows it. I saw a poll. I can't remember who it was. Let me see if I can find the poll actually. But there was a poll that asked fans whether you side with what Mohamed Salah did, or if you side with the Arne Slot side of the conversation. And 90% of the fans polled sided with Mohamed Salah saying what he said. And it is very telling when you have all these, 6 million signatures or whatever it is, whatever the number is up to now, of signatures, millions of signatures saying that you don't want this coach. when you have players that are liking the post, obviously in support of what Mohamed Salah said. Curtis Jones took it one step further. He didn't even like the post. Apparently, he put like a clapping emoji. He was standing up and applauding what he had to say. And it's like, I think that it was a masterful move by Salah to choose this moment to say this statement. It's something that I think the vast majority of us think. I think it is a desperate rally call to those of us that don't want to see this club continue in the direction that they're taking us. And it is a noble way of saying we appreciate what you've done by bringing us a title last season. We appreciate the fact that under that guise of last season, you put together, you kept the team together. You allowed for them to have that if what we didn't know would be their final run together, and they brought home a title. We had tragic circumstances occur to us during the break with the loss of one of our beloved Reds in Jota. We had 13 players find themselves moving on to new horizons, new teams, and we welcomed in 7 new players. And we moved forward, and we have struggled, massively struggled. And I'm talking about there's at least, I'd say 15, if not 20 different records, milestones, negative milestones that we've set this season with this coach. And that's why this coach telling us, trust me, give me more money. Trust me, things will be different. And that trust is evaporated with all those red flags we've seen along the line to now. And we have a team that is saying no more. We have fans that are saying no more. Yet it's not our call. It is Edwards and Hughes. And we needed a champion to stand up and make one valiant plea. Now, if they go and say, nope, we're going to sit Mohamed Salah, that's your punishment, or we're going to ruin your final day as a Red, that'll be message clear. But I don't think that they will do that. I don't think they will do that. Go ahead.
I don't think so. They've been posting Salah's top 10 goals on YouTube, on their Twitter page, the official one. They've been doing that, you know what I mean? Like for me, I think football sort of beef arguments sort of get more highlighted than the average time when politicians do it bloody every day, you know what I mean? And they do much worse things than what Salah's fucking done, you know? So for me, that's no problem. I think if the ship was steady and Salah did it, yeah, different story. But the ship's fucking about to sink. And he's like, yo, before we sink, this is what I've got to say. And a lot of people are crying about it. The media love it. Why? There's more news for them to talk about. You know, Sly Sports, Talk Sport, all them fuckers have been doing it. They've been talking non-stop about Salah. He's bad. He shouldn't do. Get out of here, man. What do you know about this? Let's not be Wizkid. And Gene as well, Cedric, Eric as well. Good to see you, man. Yeah, that's what they're doing, bro, with this Salah news. It's like, have you noticed how the Salah news has taken away the attention away from Arne Slot? 1 point from 9 in the Premier League. You know? Come on. 1 point from 9 our last 3 games in the Premier League. 1 point from 9. No one's talking about fucking that, are they? They're talking about Salah non-stop. There you go, job fucking done. Diabolical, bro. Let's put beans on toast.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
it's too much
unique.
now, you know.
Unique.
Look, yeah.
No, same finish your thought, and then I'll ask. I have a question for you. Go ahead.
It's like how it's like Salah has been like a godsend to this club. He's been here for 8-9 years now. When a guy like that, who's been top scorer on a number of occasions and won us the Champions League, won us the Premier League for me single-handedly, attack-wise last season. Yeah, he had a bit of help, but he was the main guy. And he's getting stressed 1 game prior to him leaving. That's something's not right there, you know. So it is the manager, and it is how we've been playing this season, bro. We entered 4 competitions, we haven't won any of them, and the only reason we're playing Champions League football next season is because Leeds beat Brighton the other day, and Bournemouth only got a point against Man City yesterday, and Chelsea and Villa are being pretty poor as well. So we got away with it. You know, I don't really want to talk about this Salah topic really no more, because for me, when the media blow up a story, they're going to just crack on with it all the time, you know, and we should be different to that. I don't think this topic needs to be... The facts are, Salah said he misses the rock and roll football, the heavy metal football, whatever you want to call it. He misses that. That's what we've seen. Andy Robertson. I always go to Andy Robertson as the prime example of it. The guy last season was the worst season ever, probably in his football career. He couldn't get his feet right, kept on using the ball. He didn't know if he was coming or going. And that was down to the manager telling him to hold his horses. That's not in his DNA. His DNA is... So if a manager who's a bit clever would realise, oh, okay, Robertson, he ain't got that long left there at the club. I'm not going to tell him to switch his game up now to save a bit of energy. Let him crack on in the way he plays, and I'll tweak it to make it my style a little bit more after. You understand my point there? He doesn't use his common sense sometimes. Andy Robertson didn't need to be told, don't cross the halfway line, don't waste your energy running up and down. But that's what made him the great player he was. I blame Slot for all this. Yeah, the players as well, a little bit. But for me, Slot, I don't know what the hell he's done.
The unique thing, though, about it, and again, I know Quasi watches the show. The unique thing about it is, though, what's up, Quasi Pulled, is that Quasi's always going on about VVD and how he's not a captain and how he's this and how he's that. Thinks he's a great player, but doesn't think of him as a leader, doesn't think of him as a great captain, or even having the ability to be a captain. And one of the reasons he gave was because he wanted VVD to do what Salah did, which is basically create a mutiny. I've been told multiple times that this team needs to go out there, despite what Arne Slot has instructed them to do, and play their game. That's what I've been told. That they should just create a mutiny on the bounty, in essence, and go on and try to take over the ship. And I know we spoke on this yesterday, and I know Nalate's on the show to defend his comments and the likes, or defend what he believes, because I know he's been critical of what Salah did. He didn't agree with what Salah did. But why I'm bringing this up is because I spoke on how Curtis Jones had the clapping emoji as if he was applauding it. Curtis Jones in the season spoke up and said that we're not playing the type of football we need. He was the bold person, the bold choice to stand up in front of a camera and say that we need to get stuck in on some of these challenges, and we need to be more physical, and we need to be about Liverpool football. That was a bold statement. We saw Curtis struggle to get minutes, and then we saw the backlash against Curtis Jones when he raised up his hands or had a little bit of a disagreement with the coach on the pitch. The media picked that up and ran with it. Curtis Jones didn't come out and apologize to Arne Slot. We saw what Alexi McAllister was asked a question about this team, and he said that he believes something that I've said, something that I believe JK believes too, but I won't speak for JK. I'll allow for him to answer that himself. But something I certainly believe, and that is Alexi McAllister came out and said that we moved too many players, we made too many changes on this team. And Alexi McAllister didn't have to come out and apologize. I think McAllister started the very next game. It is unique that this situation is where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unique that we needed a Sir Lancelot of Camelot to do what we needed to do to restore what we believe is Camelot, which is Liverpool. And I believe that Salah said, I'll be that fall guy if necessary. And that's where we're at. A situation where you have to start this player, or there will be. You think that the boos were loud when you subbed Rio off.
Mm-hmm.
Try disrespecting a club legend, a living club legend, on the final day he has at Anfield. That will be another step in what JK has said, which I completely agree, in a coach who has probably never picked up a book, much less watched a video or seen a game in person or even recognized what the Liverpool culture is all about. If you were to do that and deny this man his opportunity, I think that the boos will beyond cascade down.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be more about you making the game about, or the situation about you, than looking at it from a fan perspective, looking at it from a Liverpool perspective.
Yeah, football. You got to keep that separated, that business, your personal sort of stuff, like if you don't like a player, sort that out behind the scenes. We don't need to make it into an EastEnders neighbours home and away sort of show.
Yeah.
Bless up South Asian stars. I hope you're cool, bro. Exactly that. Robbo wanted to go to Tottenham so bad, bro. It was like he wouldn't stop that news. Couldn't believe it, So that's where we're at. And what Helio also says about the end of last season, I said it before he even joined the club. He shouldn't have told the media when he was at Feyenoord that he's coming to Liverpool. That was one red flag. And look how we ended last season. That week against Newcastle and PSG. And then we played like jokers, bro. We didn't play like champions. So I would have sacked him just because of that. You're like, what you playing out here, bro? You just won the Premier League title. What you playing like? What are you playing like Leicester City for? What you doing here? Play like champions. Show the world so we can get an extra. That's how football is for me. Football on the pitch is the interest and marketing tool you use to make more money for the owners. And these sometimes people say the owners don't care about results, as long as they get top four. And I'm thinking, if I own a football club and I don't support it, I want them to do well no matter what. Anyway, why? I can make more money out of it in the bigger picture. But they don't think like this. Well, they say they don't, but for me, winning is everything. You think John Henry sits at home and thinking, you know what? I don't care if you don't win the Premier League title. Of course he wants to win it. He's not dumb. That's his club. He wants them to be successful. Then he can charge anyone anything for sponsorship deals. It's like, I don't understand that part of it. where people are saying like you don't want them to win, you're only happy with top 4. I said, no idiots like that, though, really, are they? Come on.
Yeah. 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 It is a measure of what you want to call it. But Mohamed Salah has definitely done some incredible things with this club, and he is a legend that should be appreciated, to say the least.
Look, bro, he's with us 8-9 years. He was the best player in the world for a while. He had world-class status around him. He was just big time. And did he ever cause any stress, realistically, when you think of a big ego he could have had? Not really. He made people want to play better. That's what he did. He made Trent the player he was as well, by giving him tips and helping him along. And Wirtz joined Liverpool because of Salah. He wanted to play with Salah. Like, the guy's talent and what he's done for the club is, you just can't stop. But I just don't understand why fans are going OTT with us, and I shouldn't have said that, this, that. Look, bruv, most of the content creators for Liverpool took more bullshit than Salah's ever done in his whole life. You understand what I'm saying? And people send them money. Okay? So and they're crying about what Salah said? Get out of here, man. Talk Sport talks the most rubbish you can imagine. They're diabolical, bruv, in the way they come across. And all of a sudden Salah shouldn't have said that. Come on. And I also believe what Nalante says in that way of, yeah, it does seem iffy that Salah always comes out with certain comments at the wrong time. And I think that's what Nalante's point was about the timing of Salah's comments. Couldn't you wait until the season finished in a couple of weeks and said it? You know what I mean? So in that part, yeah, timing wise, he should have done it better. But at the end of the day, he's done it now. And what he said is there's nothing as bad as what people and content creators, Liverpool fans say.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Okay.
We're lucky that we don't go into that game on Sunday thinking if we don't win, we could miss out on Champions League football. The only way that's going to happen if we get battered 4-0 and then Bournemouth hammer whoever they're playing 3-4-0. I can't really see that happening. So in a weird sort of way, Sunday is a celebration day. You know what I mean?
If hypothetically we lose, let's say they win 4-0 versus Forest, so something even remotely, or let's say they lose 3-0. They win 3-0 against Forest, and let's say we lose 3-0 against Brentford. Apparently, we would have to have a playoff game. And that's, I don't think that's ever happened before.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we'd have to have a playoff game versus Bournemouth. I don't know how that would exactly, how that really work out, because do you play it in a neutral ground? Obviously,
two-legged affair. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Is it like a 2-game playoff? Reason why that could be the case is because currently, if that were to happen, both teams would sit on 59 points. The goal differential would be equal. We'd have an equal goal differential. We would have an equal number of goals scored. We'd have one win against each other already on the books, and head to head is 2 each. So I don't know. The chances of that happening are slim.
Yeah, but didn't you? If Villa win tonight against Freiburg, I want Freiburg to win, by the way. If Villa win, though, I think maybe 6th position gets Champions League, bro. That's what I've heard. I'm not sure it's confirmed, and that if anyone in the chat knows, let us know. If Villa win, because Villa are going to finish 3rd or 4th or 5th, aren't they? So yeah, I'm just thinking, do we get an extra spot there? Yeah, Villa will win, I think. Freiburg a good team though. Fair play to them. Got to the final and that. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Freiburg do it.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting because it'd be an opportunity for Freiburg to get into the Champions League, something that they probably never thought they would be able to do. Think about it.
Yeah. And it's true, South Asian Scouser. Their goalie Freiburg's Noah. So at least Atabulu. Yeah, good little goalie. Yes, England would have 6 teams in the Champions League then if Villa win.
Yeah.
But if Freiburg get Champions League football, because Villa have got Champions League football next season no matter what. It'd be cool if Freiburg get it then.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason why I was also bringing up the situation about, or at least the comments by, some of these other individuals that have made some comments about our situation, not necessarily against the coach, but it's our situation. This was the poll. So 94% of Liverpool supporters polled by Sky Sports back Mohamed Salah over Arne Slot. 94% of Liverpool supporters polled by Sky Sports back Mohamed Salah over Arne Slot. This is one of those. Yeah, I don't know the other 6, but the
other 6% is Nalante.
Yeah. Nalante and
whoever else.
They both are very, very supportive of our coach right now. And don't get it twisted. We support our coach. We support whoever is our coach. We support him. But yeah, in this particular poll, at least 94% of them have chosen. 94%.
Well, look at the signatures. 6 million odd. I couldn't believe it when I seen the figure the other day. It's like mad. Yeah. What's going on here? Bless up, Hugo Katigas. Fish.
Jamie Carragher on Salah's post. He says, "I think Curtis Jones commented on it, didn't he? Put like a clapping emoji." He says, "I thought that was a bit strange. I thought, Jesus, this is why we don't play heavy metal football, because of some players a little bit like Curtis Jones in the squad. He takes 6 touches on the ball before he passes it. I thought, steady on, son. Stay out of this one. Stay out of that one, excuse me." That's what Jamie Carragher had to say. Jamie takes some really interesting leaps sometimes.
Yeah, you know why, bro? Because he's in a position with the company he works for to be like that. And the more bullshit he talks, the more attention that channel's going to get. And that's how them sort of people, that sort of situation rolls, bro. But at the end of the day, bro, you got to keep it respectful. State the obvious, there's nothing wrong with that. But keep it respectful, He loves that little bit of drama on screen.
Yeah, that's a little
I went to his last game for Liverpool, Carragher's. And he hit the post from about 30-odd yards, bro. It's too funny, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, very interesting. But again, why also I brought that up about Jamie's comment, at least on Curtis, at least not sure on Salah, but on Curtis, was, let me see if I can find this. I'll share with you guys this little thing right here. So this is according to Dave OC Cop. And that is, according to a report from Italian outlet Tutto Sport, Curtis Jones has well and truly fallen out of Arne Slot and is pushing to leave Liverpool this summer. His contract in
Wow.
Anfield runs until June 2027, but the 25-year-old has no intention of signing an extension and has reportedly been sending signals to Inter Milan, a club that have been in contact with his entourage since as far back as January. Pushing to leave is what the headline says. What would you say if Curtis Jones ends up leaving?
Look, bro, I like Curtis Jones. I think he's improved this season. And I think he would improve much, much more if Klopp was in charge. I think he would have been smashing it this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's still played better this season, even though the relationship between him and the manager has been really bad. You know, and and I can understand it. Have you noticed how Curtis and Salah are probably passionate Liverpool fans, and they're the ones. Two of them are the ones who got in sort of stressed with the manager. If you look at it, that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Salah loves the club. He loves the Liverpool fans. He loves Liverpool. He couldn't have gone anywhere years ago. But he stayed. Yeah, he got paid pretty well in that. But at the end of the day, him and Curtis love Liverpool. The real Liverpool, the fans sort of Liverpool, you know, and they don't like the way they're going. Everyone wants to jump ship. Robertson, Jones, Salah, all want to go, bro. Come on, man. Look at Wirtz, bro. Wirtz don't know if he's coming or going in the last few games. Why? Because the buzz is fucked. Because the energy, the aura around the squad is not great. You know?
Yeah.
And fair play to Curtis. He's the only guy who I've seen who made an effort to get Wirtz playing good football with the team. Why? Every time Wirtz had the ball, Curtis was there as an option. Give me the ball, bro. 1-2, 1-2. And then in that time, Wirtz got better. I realised that. I studied Wirtz pretty well this season. And he started scoring, getting assists and stuff because him and Curtis sort of got more into the game and that. Then Wirtz started connecting to Salah, with Salah a little bit. They did that goal, they did a little 1-2, and then Wirtz scored. And that's just another waste of a season. I was looking so forward that Wirtz and Salah are going to smash it together with Isaac. Come on, man. And look what's happened, bro. You can't make it up.
You really can't. You really can't. All right, let's get into this this show here. The first segment I had set up for this show was basically about what Joe Gomez had to say about our loss against Villa. Joe Gomez said something after the Villa defeat that honestly I think cut deeper than any tactical breakdown could have done. And that is, we cost ourselves. That's the quote he said. We cost ourselves this game. And the reason those words hit supporters like myself as important is because they feel painfully accurate. Like, as in Liverpool, we're not completely dominated at Villa Park. Despite the score, we weren't dominated by Villa Park by Villa. This was not some unstoppable footballing avalanche where the Reds never had a chance. In fact, there were long stretches of that game where Liverpool looked relatively comfortable. Virgil van Dijk equalized, the match calms down, Villa aren't exactly running through Liverpool at will, and then once again, the same story unfolds. A lapse in concentration, poor defensive awareness, set-piece vulnerability, loss of emotional control, once again, momentum shifts, and we're down in this match. Joe Gomez openly admitted Liverpool knew exactly what Villa would try to do. He acknowledged the preparation that they did in training. He acknowledged the danger that they all knew Villa possessed. He acknowledged the self-peace threat that they had to be wary of, and Liverpool still failed to handle it. That's what makes this so frustrating, because this season increasingly feels like Liverpool defeating themselves emotionally before opponents even fully beat them tactically. Mm-hmm. That's where the criticism for everything we said earlier become so complicated and so complex because structurally, Liverpool often look organized. But structurally, Liverpool often looking organized doesn't necessarily mean that the shape looks fine or the possession numbers look fine or the spacing often can look fine. It's the emotional possession of it. You can tell it by the anxiety that a lot of us get when we see another team set up for a set piece against us. We can see how the energy drops when we get a goal, when we concede a goal. This team looks incredibly fragile. Under Klopp, Liverpool often felt emotionally resistant. I would say like Teflon Dons out there. And even in chaos, Liverpool believed they could overwhelm teams with their sheer will. But now the second adversity appears, heads drop, concentration slips, matches suddenly unravel. This is completely the identity that we don't want this team to have. And honestly, Joe Gomez deserves credit for saying it publicly instead of hiding behind cliches, because supporters are tired of hearing "we go again" or "we learn from our mistakes" or "we move forward." We move, people. No one wants to hear that. Supporters want accountability. Gomez gave them that. But the worrying thing now is when players themselves start describing the season as a recurring cycle of avoidable mistakes, does it not tell you the squad fully recognizes the problem? The issue is they haven't solved it. They haven't figured out a way to solve it. That is a regrettable and unforgettable circumstance. What do you feel about Joey's comments?
I like Joe Gomez, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He's a civilized guy, mature. What he says is bang on, There's gonna be
It's gonna be what?
It's like when you look at Salah, he was out for dinner, and that day he wrote those comments. He was out with words about like guys are all chilling, bro. And I think the players are more united than they are with the manager than the other way around, the manager with the players. I think the players got more unity between themselves than with the manager.
We already spoke about the fallout. I'll just skip over the whole Salah. We all know about him saying what he said and everything else, yada yada. Spoke about that at length somewhat, but they bring up something brought up by Stevie G and Jamie, actually, about sounding this alarm, apparently. Because Steven Gerrard's publicly called Salah's comments damning. I think those words matter because Gerrard clearly interpreted Salah's statement the same way much of us did, and that is not as frustration, but as concern about Liverpool's direction. We've said it time and time again. There's been some of us that have been calling it out, even in a year that we went on to win the title. There were red flags that were coming up where we were concerned that we were asking our coach, hey, learn. Pause for 1 second. I know that people around you are telling you that you're so great and you're such a genius, and you're believing everything that the people are telling you about how great you are. But for a moment, take a second to recognize that there are some alarming signals being sent your direction. And I know I was waving the red flags when we had PSG, Southampton, PSG. I got a lot of flack and a lot of pushback when I started saying I didn't appreciate the way our coach treated not only Nunez, but I didn't appreciate the way that our coach treated Elliott in that game. Elliott, the same guy that scored in 3 different games. I think he had like 3 goals, right, in Champions League competitions, right? 3, if not more.
3 in a row.
Yeah, 3 games consistently. He scored a goal. And what you do in that 4th game, not play him. That makes sense.
Yeah.
3 winners, by the way. 3 winning goals. What do you do?
Fruit, bro. When the fruit's ripe, that's when you eat it.
Yeah.
You know?
You
don't put it back in the
with the hot
refrigerator
hand.
or in the basket. Simple as. I couldn't give a better example of that. And our manager didn't know when the fruit's ripe. Elliot and Darwin got us a result in Paris. And they didn't do nothing in that. They didn't get a look in that Paris game. Second leg.
Nope.
And after Darwin won us them 3 points against Southampton, he won a penalty, he got a goal.
Yeah.
And still didn't play him, bro. It's like,
still don't play him.
Man. Yeah.
You still don't play him.
I tell you the truth, Darwin Núñez this season here would have made us much, much better than we were this season. I don't care what anyone says. Now you understand me what about football means. No matter what Darwin did, he opened up gaps for our other players to make problems for the opposition. And that's about it, bro. You know, that's what football is sometimes.
And he pressed, and he hustled. He was actually one of our better defenders. And I'll say that again, defenders on set pieces, because if you look at his numbers, he was he had the most, touches on our set pieces for a forward when defending set pieces, corners and set pieces, and he was on the pitch. But intangibles, just like you said, making those runs, creating those channels and creating the space to operate in, and also just creating in general. I get that he missed shots. I get that. But the young man could create. He created opportunities where he would either have assists, or he would have the opportunity to obviously take the shot himself. He could create on his own, because of his pace and because of his physicality. And if you're not going to have a offense that is set up to give through balls and give and do the kind of passing of crosses into our center forwards that Ekitike and especially Isak love to feed off of, you're not going to get much. You're not going to get much production out of our center forwards. You're not going to get much production out of our front line. Honestly, you had one of the most dynamic seasons of all time for Salah last season, and that's because he had a Darwin Núñez and a Jota making runs for him and creating the space and being fox in the box and doing the extra work of pressing. You took those 2 players out and turned 2 players that say, I'm not going to do those same attributes that Jota and rest in peace, Jota and Núñez did for you. I'm not. And then you wonder why we had a drop-off in Salah's numbers. You wonder why we had a drop-off in our production of offensive. You recognize, and this is something I mean and Nalate were going back and forth about, because, again, like I know Nalate wasn't on board with what Salah had to say about this team, about the coach and the team. But I'm not saying that he's pro. He's not saying it. I'm not trying to say he's pro Slot. But one thing I kept pointing out to him was we are on schedule to have the lowest production in XG in 10 years.
Yeah.
That is incredibly damning. And what I mean by damning is, I'll even make sure that you see what I am speaking on. Excuse me. Just find that. If you look at these numbers, we are on schedule to have 56.34 XG this season. 56.34. That is lower. That is lower. That is still, what is that? 16 points lower then in the past 5 years, that is the lowest. That is 16 points lower than our lowest XG in the past 5 years. 56.34 XG. You're going to tell me that's something to be proud of. We're going to talk about something in the lines of possession. For instance, we have a coach that is supposed to be a possession coach. A possession coach. That's what kind of football we do, right? Possession football. If you were to look at it, we are on schedule, or we are close to being on schedule. And see if I can bring up the stats so you can see it. We are close to being, 59.2% is 1% better than we had last season. But that is, again, lower than any season under Klopp. Klopp was not a possession football coach. He was all about the press and the Gegen press and all that, and pushing forward and doing the whole things. And I get that. And you're right. South Asian Scouser, according to Slot, we've dominated games and just been unlucky. Those statistics do not say we are unlucky. It says we're not that good. And that's why it is weird to hear someone tell me we are a possession team. We are a possession team. This coach is a possession-oriented coach, but yet the 2 years he's been here, we have had less possession than the 8 years previous with Klopp. Make that make sense. We're not going to get the benefits of a high pressing team, high intensity, high volatile, chaotic pressing team. We're not going to get those benefits that gave us 60% possession. We're going to go with a slow, methodical, boring structure of possession football and have less possession than we did with the other previous method. Tell me how that makes sense. If you have some logic behind it that makes all of that make sense, please share it with us, because then we can have a conversation, an honest conversation, as to why people would even remotely think that we are on the right path. It would make sense. It would understand. You can tell me the reason why we have 16 points less than our worst year under Klopp. We have 16 points less XG than the worst year under Klopp. Tell us why that makes sense. We're on the right path. Please. Because that's where we're at. That is where we're at. That is exactly where we're at. We're talking about years under Klopp when some years we had 92.87. We had 90.63. We were in the 90s of XG. And now we're at 50 some odd, 50 whatever. 56 XG. That would
16,
make.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell me.
No, just like 16 points. Wow.
Yeah.
Then worse than Klopp's. That's what else do you want to? What else do you need to know?
Yeah.
And you just spent $500 million bringing in players, and you're getting that. Yep. That's not great.
Yep. That was in I think one of Klopp's. That was during Klopp's. Yeah, that was Klopp's worst year. And in Klopp's worst year, we still got 67 points.
Wow.
We'll be lucky to get 62. We'll be lucky to get 62 this year. You'll be lucky to get 62. That's why when I hear a lot of this conversation being spoken on, it does definitely trigger me to say, well, what are we doing? What are we doing? But Jamie and Stevie have different perceptions. Jamie Carragher took it even further by saying that Carragher comparing Slot's situation to Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United is not small criticism. It's essentially a warning that Liverpool could convince themselves stability matters more than evidence right in front of them. I don't know what Jamie's doing, to be honest with you. In one moment he says something, the other moment he takes takes a different side of the conversation. Then the next moment he takes a different side of the conversation. He's been saying some bold statements that have been critical and been I think spot on, whether it's pro or anti Slot. But it doesn't matter. It's more so he's been saying some comments that have been spot on, and then other times he's been saying comments that are just contradictions to something he said earlier. Because I think that like him coming out and saying that Liverpool currently look disconnected and that we look these are things I think disconnected tactically, emotionally. I think that this club is disconnected from what supporters associate with Liverpool football. And Carragher isn't saying Slot is a bad coach. He has constantly said he doesn't think of him as a bad coach. He's warning us against waiting too long if the signs of decline continue to grow. And this is where the Rodgers comparisons I made in an episode before this begins creeping back into conversations. Are we going to wait till next season and then have to scramble to find a coach or hope that there's a savior to rescue a season that might be already in a downward slope? Are we going to wait to say, oh, well, let's see how we come out the gates next season? Let's buy more players that suit this manager. Buy more players that suit his style. Get rid of more of the players that are the heart and soul of this team, like Robbo and Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Let's just continue to move those players on. And let's bring in more players that don't understand what it is to be a Liverpool Red and understand what it means to not even conceptualize losing, for instance, to Manchester United 2 times in a year, much less 3. To even conceptualize losing to Manchester City, who we did lose 3 times.
Yeah, Palace as well.
Those are things that you wouldn't even remotely fathom. Like as in the fervor in the pure energy intensity in the locker room would allow for you to start the game with a 2-0 lead already. And I think all the warning signs are there. There's
like if they got rid of Slot 2 days before the new shirt was coming, or 3 days before the shirt was coming, and bought in Alonso, you know how many shirt sales they would have made just because of that? Everyone would be like, yeah, I'm buying that. You know, lone sheep's like, no, I'm not, you know. So, yeah, weird. They're not really good at marketing in that way or using their brains in that way. They're going to keep Slot for what? Come on.
I will admit this too. There was something that was said a couple days ago, And it was regarding, I think, something that Gary Neville said, basically. And um, can we stop with asking former players from Manchester United about Liverpool's problems or Liverpool's situation?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we
The
stop
joke.
that? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's like the people who've got the microphone in their hands, they're the biggest idiots ever. Like, what are you asking him for?
Yeah,
You know
like
he's going to just badmouth. Like, that's what they want, though, bro. They want that. They want the people who are going to be rude and be agenda driven with their comments. Like football, for me, football commentary shouldn't be biased. Look at the last few years of commentary, bro. Them two jokers on TNT Sports are a bunch of Ali McCoist and the other guy, pure bias. Whenever Liverpool are playing, they want the other team. It's as simple as that. You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
you can't.
What are you asking Man United players for about Liverpool? Ask them about
Yeah,
Man United. Man United aren't the greatest. You know what I mean? When's the last time they won anything?
yeah. There was a guy named Renee Muhlenstein, I believe his last name is Muhlenstein. He's played with a bunch of, or he's coached a bunch of different teams. I don't know if he's a former player or not, but I know that he's coached a bunch of different teams. He's coached with Manchester United before, and he apparently came out this week defending Arne Slot and warning supporters against overreacting emotionally to one difficult
Mm-hmm.
period. He said, honestly, that Klopp himself went through difficult stretches. Elite managers are not immune to transitional pain, and that it's an interesting statement being made by someone of his stature, making making that comment. Um, and then there's the Alexander Isak conversation. Liverpool invested heavily, obviously, trying to build the next attacking sensation be around this player, but because of injuries and imbalance, and maybe even him not being able to get properly adjusted for a new season. And maybe even those of us that question his ability to stay fit in general with his up and down injury history. The attack never fully clicked. So now Liverpool face a huge summer because this isn't about adding talent anymore. This is about restoring a football identity. This is a much harder signing. This is much harder than just signing more players. This is about you can buy ability, but you cannot easily manufacture chemistry. You can't automatically manufacture aggression and collective belief. That has to come from you, but not only believing in a manager, but backing a manager. They often say that a team resembles its manager.
Yeah.
And tell me how you want to be thought of as a menacing side that will cause you nothing but angst and pain on that pitch for your opposition, or do you want to be someone that can be God at, someone that you can just bide your time and you will have your opportunities to make do with and make and have your way. And that's why right now we're on some manager watch where it's Iriola. There's even high hopes of Luis Enrique. Um, and it's all because of the chaos around Arne Slot right now. All about that. Let me get to this question real quick before I move too far into the next segment. But the question was to the panel: what did you make of Alonso to Chelsea and us not even having an interest? I might have missed your take if you've already spoken about it before. JK, what is your thoughts on that question? Oh, maybe JK is. Oh, he was asking apparently Smokey for an answer. It's all good. Smokey is his dog, by the way, his little Chihuahua. I guess while he and Smokey work out a politically correct answer to that one. I think it does say something that we weren't willing to go for Alonso and move on from Arne Slot. It says, I think, that there are people in this administration with FSG that still fully believe that Slot was the man or is the man. And I can understand them believing that under this pretense. Edwards and even Hughes did their homework did their research in trying to bring about a actual coach. And this is just my opinion. I'm not an ITK. I'm just giving you my opinion. I think that they knew that in Arne Slot, you would have, for lack of a better word, a yes man, a company man. You'd have a coach that's going to get in line with whatever the board is going with. And why I say that is because one of the players, a player that I love my Colombian players, and I love Lucho. The way he gave effort and spirit on the pitch. I love the way that he brought flair to the game for us. One of the few players that could do that as well, with confidence. Apparently, Arne Slot was not in favor of getting rid of Lucho. And he even made a point about wanting to keep Lucho. But that didn't matter, obviously. That did not matter. And I know and I understand that the common understanding of things is Arne Slot's got to approve or disapprove all moves. And obviously, that's not the case. Because if that was the case, Lucho would have had a deal worked out because the coach knew and appreciated what Lucho brought to his team. But with that said, Lucho is with Bayern Munich, setting records and winning Bundesligas. And we are watching possibly the birth of an excellent player in Rio, and I'm hoping it is. We're watching the finding of oneself with Cody, in the sense of he had a decent year, but now he's got to figure out how to become the man at the left wing role. Now that he doesn't have to share it with Lucho and be complementary, as opposed to just being the sole interest in our left wing. I agree with Mark in that Lucho was an opportunity. We were never going to get a higher evaluation on the player than what we got the previous season. The money that we got for Lucho, it was something I was saying time and time again. People were like, oh, Lucho's this and Lucho's that. There's people that made some disparaging words and disparaging comments about Lucho. That's for you to have. But I always kept saying to them, football knows by the evaluation of the player, your market value is the football world saying what they view is talent. And Lucho had the highest evaluation out of all the players on this team. That's considering what you have left on your contract, what your age is, all those different things, okay? And Lucho was at the top of that list, and he had a high evaluation. And when Bayern Munich came in to buy the player, they had to spend the money. And the FSG needed to get some compensation back for all the money they were about to shell out for all these new players they're bringing in. So Lucho became someone that they didn't want to give an enhanced contract to. They didn't want to give. They didn't care about the fact that the coach vouched for him and wanted him to stay. They didn't care. They saw money on the table and they took it. Kwanzaa could be considered Moneyball too. I agree with that. Kwanzaa is a situation where it's a head scratcher in that we sold the player. Let me look up how much we sold the player for, because I think it was like something like 30 some million, in the 30 some odd million for him.
Yeah, I'll answer.
We sold him for 35 million. Let's land this one. 35 million is what we sold him for, 35 million pounds. And apparently we can buy him back. There's a buyback clause involved in it. And the buyback clause included in the original 2025 deal was reported to be around 51 million to 52.5 million pounds. So in essence, we bought him for 35. Let's say 51. Let's say it's 51 for easy math. Okay. That would mean that we would have to pay 16 million pounds to bring back Kwanzaa to this team. Net loss of 16 million pounds to bring back Kwanzaa to a team to play for a coach that benched him on day one and then proceeded to never play the guy really after that match. How does that work? Explain to me how that works. Explain to me how that works. The only way we buy back Kwanzaa, I think, is if Slot is not here. Because if I'm Kwanzaa, why would I want to come back to Liverpool to play under Arne Slot, who has shown nothing no positives about enhancing or furthering my career? Why? Why would I want to do that? If I'm Kwanzaa's agent, despite the fact that, yes, it'd be lovely to get back to London. Yes, it would be lovely to get back to England. It would be even more lovely to be a part of a team that wants you, a team that values you, and be even greater to have a coach that recognizes that. You're gonna let Slot have a second bite at the apple if you're his agent? No, I don't think so. At least, maybe you think different. You can tell me in the chat. Explain it. Like I said, on this channel, for the most part, we try to include your comments, or we try to at least include you in the conversation. I still want to hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
No, just about the Alonso thing, bro. As soon as that news came out, I was sort of gutted, because at the end of the day, there's not a lot of great type of football coaches out there. Alonso's won the Bundesliga, went to Madrid, and it sort of fell down. But at the end of the day, at least we knew we were going to get a guy in who knows how to play football and has managed a team that's won something. So is Arne Slot, but it's a different ball game. Alonso and him. And at the end of the day, anything is better than Slot, if you understand my point. Alonso, if he does well at Chelsea, everyone's going to be, oh, why did we get him in? Why give him that chance? I'd rather have Alonso for a season, see how he gets on, then let's crack on from there. If he ain't great, yeah, let's move on. But at least he's had the opportunity to do so, you know. But 2 times he's had the opportunity, 2 times he's gone to Madrid and Chelsea. So let's leave that topic alone now.
Yeah. Well, again, there's a manager watch going on right now. The fact that Liverpool's managerial rumors are now dominating conversations tells you how unstable perceptions around Arne Slot have become. Iriola's rise in these discussions has been especially fascinating because supporters look at Bournemouth and immediately see qualities they miss in Liverpool, which is intensity, vertical football, emotional aggression, fearlessness, the tempo. Even Emily Heskey said publicly that he backed Iriola because he believes Liverpool supporters want entertaining football again, and that matters. This is because this is not just about winning anymore. This is about how Liverpool supporters want to feel something when watching this team play. Then there's Luis Enrique, an elite manager, possibly the odds-on favorite for the manager we would like to see take over the reins at this team. He's got Champions League pedigree, huge personality, strong authority. Has experience managing superstars in the dressing room. But ironically, some supporters fear Enrique could double down on the same over control criticisms Slot is already facing. And that's the fascinating split happening right now, I think, is that Liverpool supporters aren't just debating managers. We're debating football philosophies. Do Liverpool want structure and control, or do we want emotion and chaos? Or can those two things, I'm going to ask you, can those two things exist? Can they coexist?
Yeah, if the soul of the people doing it is in the right way, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, you can have chaos, but you can have organized chaos. I'm not a big fan of emotional people, but hey, you can have emotion, you can transfer that into passion to get the job done. You know what I mean? So there's a ways to work around it.
Okay. All right. You tell me in the chat who you want as your next coach. The facts are, these are the names. There's Nagelsmann, there's Hoeneß, there's Glasner, there's Marco Silva. There's even Klopp being mentioned. Heck, there's even Pep G being mentioned. I am not the only person that has made this suggestion, people. I'm telling you, sometimes intelligent minds think alike. Jermaine Pennant came out and publicly said that he believes that not only is Pep G a good fit for Liverpool, he believes that Pep Guardiola is a coach, that likes the idea of the project, would be a fit and be good for Liverpool. He could put a lot of stereotypes aside by making that transition to Liverpool football and move on from he's just a debutante coach, or he's just one of these privileged diva coaches that only goes to teams that are going to give him every
big bucks.
Yeah, the big bucks.
The big bucks. Yeah. As I said, I'd love to see him go to a team like Luton Town, Coventry City, or whatever, and see what he can do with them. Without big funds, So at the end there, he'll still do a great job, my opinion.
Let me sit this. All right, so I have this segment called Quick Hicks. They're very quick blurbs that I've seen around X or Twitter or whatever you call it, or even other news broadcasts or news outlets out there that have spoken on some of these rumors or these some facts, some rumors. But one thing becomes immediately obvious when you study Liverpool transfer links this summer. The club knows exactly what the squad lacks. And that's why I think if you look at the profiles that are being mentioned, you'll understand that power and pace is something we are going to get in the summertime. Bradley Barcola, Adeyemi, Kareem Adeyemi, Gerrard Bowen, Francisco Conceição, Conceição, I think is how you pronounce it. Adam Morton, Lamine Camara, Denzel Dumfries, all players that either have power and pace or have the ability to provide passing or even defensive measures for us. And what they all share is energy, athleticism, directness, aggression, and transition football. Liverpool are trying to rediscover explosiveness. Far too many times this season, Liverpool have looked technically organized but emotionally sterile. Barcola makes sense for some, not for. I'm not really going forward with Barcola as a top choice, to be honest with you. I think there's other players I would rate higher. I'm not saying that Barcola isn't a player I would go for. I think he's a talented player. I just don't have him at the top of my list. There are obviously some very much fantasy picks that I would like to see come this way, but there's also some sensible selections I'd like to see before I saw Barcola go this way. And no, it's not Adeyemi. Adeyemi brings pace and chaos, but he's not a player I'm coveting. I think I'd rather go for Barcola than Adeyemi, to be honest with you. Gerrard Bowen brings Premier League intensity and obviously Premier League proven. Wharton brings aggression and control and also brings in the ability to pass. Dumfries brings physicality, maybe even some vertical running. They're not passive footballs people. They're not passive footballers, basically, is the point. And I think it's intentional that you're seeing these players be put into the conversation. And Liverpool appear to recognize that this squad drifted too far towards slow possession football, the whole left-right, kick it backwards style. And if we're going to be kicking it backwards, we need to stay a keeper in the net that can distribute the ball to our team and get something initiated and started. It's fantastic to have a shot stopper. Marmadashvili can be that. I'm not disputing that. But we need someone that is good with their feet. I think that's why you've heard Diogo Costa's name be suggested as a player as being the next evolution of the squad. Do you believe that could be the case? Do you believe that Liverpool will go for a player like Costa and basically move on from Marmadashvili as being a possible mistake? Because I don't think Marmadashvili is going to say to Liverpool, bringing Costa, I'm willing to fight for the role, or I'm willing to even play second fiddle. I don't think he's going to do that. We've already heard Marmadashvili put a stink up about him not getting enough playing time. Those were the rumors that were being made, that Marmadashvili was looking to possibly move from this team because of the playing time he was getting. Now than Costa, I heard the name Chevalier. What's his name? It's let me double check on how you pronounce his name. Lucas let's see how you pronounce it. Chevalier, I think is how you pronounce it. My French teacher would be going up a wall with my pronunciation, my French pronunciations. She would be going up a wall. Chevalier. I'll try to say it even with a French accent. A French accent. Chevalier is a player that apparently we are looking into possibly as well. He is a French professional footballer who plays for PSG. He was their number one goalkeeper for a bit, and now he's been surpassed by the Russian that they have. I don't remember the Russian's name, but it's now a case where Donnarumma moved on. Everyone thought that Chevalier would have been the natural predecessor to that, and the heir to the goalkeeper throne, and he was not. He has been second fiddle. So, yeah, my Creole. I can speak. I could probably get by in the Bayou. I can get by in the Bayou. That's Louisiana for you. The Bayou. Down in the Bayou. Sounded like Gambit from X-Men. All right. I don't. Who would you want as your goalkeeper? Obviously, we want our Ali to stay. But if Ali were to move on to Italy, would you want Marmadashvili as the number one goalkeeper? Would you want us to go a different direction, bring in Costa, or maybe even the Frenchman I just spoke on earlier?
I like the guy that Mark Simmons is talking about. Bless up, Mark. He's a good little keeper. That's what I'm saying, bro. We live in a world of football where there are a lot of footballers out there, but we can't get ourselves a top DM and top goalkeeper, can we?
Mm-hmm.
Or a top manager even. Like Slot got the Liverpool job, bro. Come on. So goalkeeper, I can't say, bro. I want Alisson to stay one more season at least. If Marmadashvili right now can't get his feet together, he's been like with the club for 2-3 years now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's ever kept a clean sheet. I think he's probably kept one or two.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, bro. That goalkeeper topic. Costa sound. Yeah. But I dropped you a note in the notes, yeah?
Okay. Let me see it. I thought. Oops. All right. We might. Okay, JK, just say peace out. JK might be able to come back and join us, but he's gonna have to step out for a second. And I will rifle through these next topics because I got a couple. I only got like 2 more topics, and then it's going to be a happy session. Let's just say that we'll try to get people happy, because it's been pretty dark. It's definitely been pretty dark. So let's get through these segments here. Let's see. Let's start with the sense of Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott's situation honestly feels sad more than anything else. I know I said we're going to get happy, but we're going to have to get sad before we get happy. And that is because this is a football player who generally loves Liverpool Football Club. We all know that. You can hear it every time he speaks about the team and about the fans and about being a part of the club. The Villa loan became a disaster almost immediately. I've been told that, on Talking Cop, the Talking KOP or Talking Cop, I think is the name of the channel. I put a comment in there and I got called out by at least 2 of the panelists, not all of the panelists. They had a very nice host. She was very nice, and she didn't weigh in on trying to decimate my comment, but I put it as I believe that not only are Villa not only did Villa have, I don't want to say, not only was Villa's hand stained from this poor deal, but I think that Liverpool's hands were stained from this deal too. And what I mean by that is they were the ones that set up this deal. They could have put in better measures to protect the player, or at least allow for them to have some type of measures that, let's say hypothetically, this deal doesn't go the direction that they're playing the player, where they're not playing the player, and he has to play a certain amount of games or something along those lines. If he's not playing, then he needs to come back to our team. That could have been set up in some way or somehow in the wording, but we didn't have that ability. And Villa didn't want to take a hit financially, and Liverpool didn't want to let Villa off the hook for the money that they had already probably, um, positioned for future deals, if not to cover some of the deals that they'd already made with the 35 million that would have been coming our way. And with that said, I think that Edwards and Hughes and the likes that made this deal, it might not be 50-50, but it's certainly 60-40, I believe. Um, and I really think that's the case. I think Unai Emery himself basically admitted the situation became embarrassing. Elliott returns to Liverpool stuck between two realities. And what I mean by that is that emotionally, supporters want him to succeed. Emotionally, some of us supporters would like to see Elliott stay. But technically, there's still clear talent there. We all know that. But stylistically, the fit feels increasingly unclear. And that's the difficult truth that Liverpool now face with this going the slot way or not. And that some players may simply no longer fit the direction the club wants to go. That doesn't mean they failed. That doesn't mean that they lack quality. It just means that the footballing errors that we're seeing in this team are not equivalent to what you're going to get from some of these players. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. I hope that we figure out what's going to happen with Harvey Elliott, and I hope that we can find it out soon, because I think Harvey Elliott is a talent. I think Harvey Elliott is a proper red. And I think that sometimes, I know some people are going to say you're being sentimental, but I think that that's the beauty of football, is that it's not just all business and numbers and cold decisions. It can sometimes involve the actual spirit of football, the whole sentimentality of football. I believe personally, it has to be involved in some way or another. Because right now there's a new scapegoat on the rise, and that new scapegoat, some might say it's Mohamed Salah, some might say it's Cody Gakpo, however you want to pronounce it. But Curtis Jones has quietly become one of the most divisive players in Liverpool discourse. Not because he lacks talent, not because he lacks effort, not because he doesn't represent Liverpool football or Liverpool in general, but because supporters increasingly associate him with the football Liverpool have become stylistically. Jamie Carragher's criticism this week wasn't really about an emoji. It was about symbolism. It was a certain jab at the player. But Jamie basically said, he essentially implied that players like Curtis Jones represent slower, control-heavy football rather than aggressive transition football. Now, whether that's fair or not is a completely different debate. I personally think that Curtis Jones is a valued and important player to have on this team. I was blessed to have met him on his birthday when he was here in America. And I don't say that simply because I did meet him or because I like the player. It's because I rate the player. And because I absolutely recognize what it means to be a Scouse on the team, have some type of representation for your city. Jones still represents many of the traditional things that we talk about: academy connection, technical intelligence, football IQ, calmness under pressure, local identity. I understand that Jones has become certainly attached to the larger argument about what Liverpool should look like stylistically. But these rumors about Inter Milan are not going away. If anything, they're becoming stronger. His contract uncertainty is there. Reports about possible tension with Slot. This has become a debate about Liverpool's football identity, and it involves with Curtis Jones, and that's a really difficult conversation. All right. One thing too, since we are getting close to the 2 hour mark, I want to make sure I get all this content in. One of the funniest ironies in football right now is that Trent Alexander-Arnold may be leaving may be leaving Real Madrid. And what I mean by that is there are reports coming out of Madrid that sound absolutely insane. Training ground altercations, internal tension, disciplinary proceedings, pressure everywhere. We all get that. That's what Real Madrid has become as of late. And we understand that in Real Madrid's cycle of football, nobody cares about what you've achieved previously. No one cares about sentiment. No one cares about adaptation periods. You either dominate immediately or you're shown the door. And the noise is becoming somewhat unsustainably in the direction of similar to what you're hearing from Mbappe, for instance, at Real Madrid. And that is they are not happy with this player at their team. The scrutiny there is completely different from Liverpool. That's what Trent is obviously recognizing. And Trent is about to discover exactly how ruthless football becomes at a club that you're not the local town boy. It should be very, very interesting what happens with him. All right. We wanted to get happy. Let's get happy, people. Let's get happy. Be like the Partridge Family. Let's all get happy here. Let's talk about this individual. Let me bring up this. Let me bring up this right here because I like happy scenarios. Love them. And let's talk about this is in front of his just recently finished. This one, I believe this is this is the one that's just recently finished because it's got the Andy in the background or in the far right. Born in Glasgow, made in Liverpool. I love that. Andy Robertson's comments after Villa hit differently because supporters trust him emotionally, I think. Robbo said this summed up our season. I think people believe in what Robbo is saying by us having the loss that we did against Villa. He said this summed up our season because nobody embodied Klopp era Liverpool more than Andy Robertson, I think. He is the definition of intensity, fight, emotion, relentlessness. He became, I think he became a player who's not the most naturally gifted footballer physically, but became elite through mentality. That's why when you hear him say this criticism, it carries weight. And what I mean by that is when somebody like Robbo openly admits Liverpool have fallen below standards, it feels like the truth. It feels less like media noise and more like internal truth. And I honestly think that's what you got from Robbo with that statement. That's what supporters are mourning right now. That's not just results, but emotional standards slipping. Liverpool under Klopp felt emotionally alive. Even different periods felt competitive, but still today we do not look like a cohesive team. It's splintering our fan base. It is splintering that locker room. And it is something that needs to be addressed and dealt with immediately because this cannot continue on. And we will not attract players to this club if there's uncertainty. We will not attract it as a welcome and comfortable environment to be a part of if it is emotionally unstable. And that's what we need to regain. That's certainly what we need to regain. But we said, come on, let's get happy. Born in Glasgow, made in Liverpool, Andy Robertson, absolute legend. Absolute legend. You want to talk about more legends? Like I said, hold off on that one. You want to talk about more legendary stuff? I would like to say, there is one other thing. Let me get this one little point out there through, because I don't think that Terry from the Football Terrorists, I don't expect him to respond to my. I don't expect him to respond to my tweets or X tweets. It's not that he has an anti-American stance or something like those things. Because I've seen he's got Americans on his broadcast, but let me share with you. This is just a quick point, because this is something I had to say. On the Football Terrace, Terry made this comment about this particular play here. You can see it in the bottom half of this picture. He said Brian Mbeumo did not commit an offensive handball. There's no controversy. There's no robbery. The referees followed the laws of the game. That was what he had to say. And I responded by saying, what happened to, we've all got to stand together and hold the PGMOL accountable, because that is something that I've seen time and time again. Whenever certainly when there's something that deals with Arsenal, Terry is quick and fast to go straight to the airwaves and the cry about the robberies and the misgivings of the PGMOL. And this is by no means me trying to stand up for the PGMOL, because I think that they are corrupt, and I think that they have issues with the way that they adjudicate and police themselves. I know that we've seen some outrageously horrendous calls and robberies for Liverpool happen, most notably the goal against Spurs with Lucho, where they made a mistake and obviously did what they did. Whether it's whether it's Doku being basically, spearing his cleats into the chest of McAllister, or if it's or even if it's Curtis Jones being shown a red card because of a follow through, inadvertent follow through on trying to secure a ball. All of these things and many more have no friend in us to the PGMOL. And we've been told by Terry, we all need to get behind when bad calls go in favor of your team, you should still call them out as bad calls. That's what we were told, and that's what he's campaigned on, and that's a righteous campaign. But that's why I ended up saying what happened to, we've all got to stand together and hold the PGMOL accountable. You can't call it letter of the law, then say it's subjective, which is what he did. Almost everyone can see it's a handball. At least I think the majority of us would say it's a handball. But it feels like because it benefited his team, the standards suddenly change. And then I tried to even refer to him. I even referred to my comment that the PGMOL admit that Manchester, according to Sky Sports Premier League, they said, and this is the Premier League site, 13 million followers. They said that the PGMOL admitted Manchester United's second goal during yesterday's game, or during the game, yesterday's game, it was further than yesterday, but should have not have been given. The PGMOL chief refereeing officer Howard Webb has talked to Forest today to acknowledge the misjudgment. Now, did I see a comment back from Terry? No. And Terry's someone that I enjoy his show. This is nothing negative against Terry. This is nothing. I mean, I've said that I would love to be a differing voice on his channel because I don't agree with some of the choices of representation that he brings on his channel for Liverpool Reds. But all the same, nothing. Crickets. I find it very interesting, very interesting. Crickets. Oh well. Well, if you do get on his channel at some point and he's talking about justice for everyone, justice. We must stand up against this torrential tyranny, of the PGMOL. If you hear him say that, ask him about that. Ask him about that. I think he's finally happy that his team won the Premier League. So that's pure banter and pure jokes. Pure banter and pure jokes. Because he is certainly twerks pretty hard for Arsenal. Pretty hard. All right, people. Let's get back to some good sensations. Look, shout out to Arsenal. They have finally done what they needed to do. They've won the Premier League. They've been handed the Premier League by obviously City falling short, and by Liverpool not doing what we should have done, which is just play to our standards. I'm not talking about Klopp-like standards and getting 90-plus points. That's at least what I look at as our standards. But for others, people are accepting of these current standards. And if that's the case, okay, well then like 84, 85 points should be around our standards. If that could have made us in contention to win the league as well. But that wasn't the case. We couldn't hold on to that. So that's why you now see Stoke City. And that's why you see Arsenal as our title-winning team. I like to do a moment of Red Zen, and that is this moment. I would say this moment right here. It's a beautiful moment, by the way. I'm going to make this into a big screen. This is Mohamed Salah being photographed with his daughters. It's amazing how quickly children grow up, because I remember when, his daughter is up to his shoulder now. But this is them walking the pitch. This is them. He posted these pictures on his, I believe it's Instagram, if not his X as well, X account. But this is them taking a moment to see the tribute to Mohamed Salah that was put naturally in front of the goal. And this is them taking a look and relishing and enjoying the moment, and looking up at their father, who has been rightfully shown a beautiful, beautiful photo of himself scoring one of the many, many goals that he scored for Liverpool. King Salah. Beautiful, beautiful moment. So we've seen Andy in front of his mural. We've seen Salah with his daughters and with the tribute to him. Some of the things that we have to look forward to, at least for next season, is this. This is the new kit that has been dropped as being our kit for next season. It has an ode back to nostalgia, and with the graphics that are used on the print. Again, we even have here the new scarf that's going to be connected to the kit. It is a sharp scarf. I like that. Here's Curtis Jones with the long sleeve, showing off the long sleeve version of it, as well as Florian Wirtz in the other. Here is Ekitike with the long kit. Hopefully he's well on the pathway back to fitness. We can only wish and hope. And then finally, but last but not least, our captain, with the showing off obviously the scarf and the kit together. Yeah. Good times. How do you guys feel about the new kit? It's a big question, I know. How do you feel about the new kit? I think the new kit's nice. I like it. And oh man, I know some people are making a boycott on on LSC merchandise. I know for various reasons. Trudon thinks it's cool. It should be one. Look, there's a lot that is going on with the club, but we're at the 2-hour mark, people. We're going to be ending our session here. Allow for you to go and watch this. I believe the game is about to start. Let me double check and see. I know some people have been tuning out and probably tuning in to this Villa matchup that just started. I appreciate the fact that you guys held it down with me, and that you guys gave me your time today. And I hope that I can be blessed to see you return tomorrow to the show. It'd be nice to see Villa win. I like Emery as a coach. Big up Beans on Toast. Big up to Trudon in the chat. Big up to Mark. Hi, Lore. Red Armchair Supporter. South Asian Scouser. Lone Sheep. Cedric. Lots of you joined today. I'm trying to think who else I didn't say hello to. Hugo. I didn't get a chance to say hello to Hugo. But hello to Hugo as well. And of course, one of our, last, certainly not least, certainly even more so, to one of our Red Queens out there. Shout out to Jean, and also shout out to Edward. And I believe this is JK's brother.
Yeah,
Cosmic, isn't it Cosmic your brother?
yeah.
So, shout out to JK's bro for showing love. I think I got everyone who at least made a comment with a shout back out at them. I don't know about that. This is my moment of Red Zen right here. Tell me how this photo makes you feel. You'll know a little slight action there, because one of those photos is certainly controversial. But once in a lifetime players, they will forever be part of Liverpool Football Club history. That's what Virgil van Dijk had to say about these two living legends that will be leaving our team, on Mohamed Salah and Andy Robertson. That was said by our captain, my captain, hopefully your captain as well, Virgil van Dijk. You can see that there's so many different memories that have included these men as being a part of a celebration. I know that I did have one with Henderson involved in there, you'll see, and that's because I think Henderson will be involved in possibly getting a proper send-off as well, as appreciation from our, at least that's what Mohamed Salah wants to do, is give him an opportunity to give thanks and be shown appreciation, because he wasn't obviously capable of doing so when we made the move away from Henderson. It was during the summertime, and it wasn't during a period where he could get the proper goodbye to Anfield for many years of faithful service as a Red. So it looks like this weekend is going to be an opportunity to say goodbye to not only Robbo and to Salah, but also a thank you and appreciation to Henderson. I guess regardless of the result, but we'll see. I guess I was going to let JK say peace or say his last thoughts, but he's already bounced again. Without me noticing. All the same. All right, people. I will let you enjoy the game. It is 0-0. Okay, here's JK back. It's 0-0. Freiburg is 0-0 with Villa. That game is only 8 minutes in. JK, did you want to say something before we move on?
No, just peace to everyone in the chat, man. Good to see so many in the chat. Press the like button as well. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to move on, and let's see if I can't get that to go. There we go. That's better. We are going to move on and allow for you to basically take in what is "You'll never walk alone," and that is this statement. Up the Reds each and every time. I hope that you guys join us tomorrow. Enjoy the game if you're going to go watch it. Other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Plain and simple. Wish you well, and talk to you soon.